Internet, and welcome once again to the free-to-play cast brought to you by MMOBomb.com, your home for all things free-to-play related. This is episode 342. I am Mike Byrne, aka Magicman, your host for today, and we've got a lot to cover. It's May 27th. We're doing it a day earlier than normal, which means something groundbreaking in free-to-play will, of course, release tomorrow. On the line with me to talk about all of it, Mr. Jason Winter. How are you, sir?
I'm doing okay, but man, Q's internet is really awful this week. She looks like Zach.
I know. Look at this. What is going on there? Mr. Zach Sharp's also on the line. How are you?
Doing all right. Been doing a lot of gaming lately because there's a lot of releases lately, so been having fun.
Hell yeah. We got some new theme music too, although I think I forgot to kind of take the volume all the way down through that intro. It was supposed to fade out, and I'm sitting here listening to it, never fading out. And I'm like, well, that's something I'm going to have to look at after the cast. So, yes, we got new theme music, unfortunately. So some people have emailed me and asked me about that. We used to, for years, from day one, we've used Get Hyper by Droideka. Unfortunately, while it's always been royalty-free, recently a company seems to have snapped up the rights to a bunch of all of Droideka's work, and yeah, so we started getting flagged. So my way around it while we scoured the internet for something we liked was to just not have any outro music and to turn the intro music down really low so that YouTube didn't see it or hear it. To which I got emails, hey, you know there's no music on the end of the show and you can hardly hear at the beginning. Yeah. So hope you like the new intro music. Credits in the description down below. If you have something you'd like us to consider, you know, maybe you're not a fan of it, you want to change it a little bit, I swear next week I will have the tether fade to silence on it a little more. But yeah, hope you like it. And if you don't, give us something. It's got to be royalty-free, though, for how often we do this damn thing. All right, guys, let's get started. Head right to the news. So I want to take an opportunity here. We're going to talk about a few different things in a row here. And some of these, Jason and I, we may have expressed opinions on already in one way or another. But I know that on some of these things, your opinion may have changed or been altered a little bit one way or the other today because you finally got your hands on some things. We also got some news on another topic that you and I talked about in depth last week that maybe will change our opinions a little bit. So I thought we'd take the opportunity with Zach here. Zach, we're going to have you catch up and give your opinions on some big games that have released or are releasing or, you know, just came out today, maybe on PC. And then, Jason, if you and I have anything that has changed, we can add that in as well. But the first big one, the hugest news ever in the world of free-to-play gaming, like ever. I don't think there's ever been bigger free-to-play news than this. Phantasy Star Online 2 has finally released on PC in the West. So it's no longer just in Japan like the last 8 years, and it's no longer just on the Xbox One as in the past, as it has been in the past 3 months, and we've been streaming it on twitch.tv/MMOBomb Monday through Friday at 2 Eastern. Hope you'll join us. We've been having a lot of fun with it. Now it's on PC. I still have not played it on PC. Yeah. So
I've got more Phantasy Star Online 2 experience than you do now, for just in one small way.
On the PC platform for the North American release, yes. You need both of those qualifiers to beat me, but yes. So predictably, none of us were really big fans when they announced that it was going to be a Microsoft Store exclusive. None of us were really big fans of them making it a Windows 10 exclusive. And those are presumably timed exclusives. I mean, even Phil Spencer himself has said, as way back as E3 and even more recently, you know, it will be on all platforms. He's never specifically said, like, Sony's PlayStation or Nintendo's Switch or, you know, Steam or anything like that. So we all kind of get the feeling right now that this is a timed exclusive for Microsoft, and we've had that feeling since E3, and that seems to still be the case. But for right now, it is only on the Microsoft Store, only in North America, So if you're trying to play it outside of the United States or Canada, switch your Microsoft Store over to the North American, then download it, because you won't see it on your stores if you're not in one of those two countries. Before we get into why I have not played it, let's start with you, Zach, since you might have more to say on this topic than the two of us. I could go on for the next 45 minutes to an hour about different things in PSO2. I won't. I'll save those for the stream. But you've been kind of watching this one. It's been in many free-to-play weekly episodes you've done over the years, whether it was coming, when it was going to come, if it would come, how it would come over here. You've been watching Ethos do the free-to-play weekly and having it mentioned there now being released. One, did you ever play on the Japanese servers? I mean, I know you're somebody that does that, jumping out a little bit too.
Yeah, so I initially played on the Japanese servers a really long time ago.
Okay.
When I think around when it first released over there. I forget how I got access to it, but I do have vague memories of going through at least an hour or so worth of content before I just couldn't really get myself into it more because of the language barrier that existed.
Yeah.
But it's a game that I've been pretty hyped for quite a while. It's a bit dated at this point, but at least it will be a more unique experience, which I think will allow it to breathe a bit more than if it was just a normal, run-of-the-mill MMORPG that's been, dated for that long.
Yeah.
So it's good, except for the fact that it's on the Microsoft Store instead of their wonderful Xbox Game Pass app, which seems to work 100% of the time for me, at least.
Yeah, right?
And so I'm not sure why they did that. They could just put it on the store and just put the free label on it. And then also, at least from what I've heard from YouTube, they don't even have a beta. So I mean, what's up with that? It seems like a little bit rushed.
It's been a rough day.
A little rough.
And what's really the biggest bitch about it is that it's been random. Like, there isn't one big problem. Like, here's the issue. They haven't addressed how to solve it yet, but everybody, like when Diablo, error 37, everybody was getting error 37. And then we found out what it meant, and then it was sit around and wait for a fix. So you were always like, all right, have they fixed it yet? They haven't fixed it yet? Okay, shit, I'm not going to try it. There are just errors all over the board, and 90% of them have to do with the Microsoft Store being involved. Yeah, it's really bizarre that you couldn't just go log into your Xbox Companion app on your computer, and it'll show there. It does show there, but when you click the play button, it backs out and takes you to the Microsoft Store rather than just doing the way Game Pass or the Companion app works and just pull the client right from there. You can't go to the website and just download the launcher. That's the other thing, Jason. How surprised were you? I want to ask this, because you did install it on computer. You managed to get it to work. Mm-hmm. But you go to the Microsoft Store, and it says it's 11 gigs, and you're like, oh, okay, that's not too bad. That's that's an 8-year-old game. All right, 11 gigs. And then you download it, and the launcher's like, hey, baby, we got 61 more gigs to go. Stay tuned.
Is that how much it was? I saw the bar went by for like 15 minutes while it was downloading. I didn't see exactly how much it was. I thought it was like 30 or so. But
it's about a total of 72 gigs.
Ugh.
Yeah, it's a big guy. But the system requirements when you go to Microsoft's page say at least 11.09
I remember seeing that. Yeah. You're exactly right. I saw that and thought, oh, that's not
Did they just fail to compress anything?
Well, it's not stored on the store. The store front loads the launcher, and if I had to guess, the very initial release. And then when you actually get that downloaded, the first time you open it, it goes to a PSO2 launcher like you would expect for an MMO. And then that launcher goes and grabs a shit ton of files, all kinds of, my guess is all the expansion stuff after the initial release. Why it's not just stored on the Microsoft site as all one thing, no launcher, or fucking just give me a launcher. Just yeah. It feels like, I get it. It feels like it's a timed release. You want people that were excited about this who generally may not be using the Microsoft Store, because nobody does, but you want them to have to come to the store. Why? Okay, because if they go to the store, It requires that they then link their accounts if they have Xbox accounts and things like that, and you start creating that. Maybe they'll come back for the next one and the next one and the next one. I get it. But when you burn a high percentage of those users who are having a first-time experience with the Microsoft Store by having it be as abysmal as it is, really, you just failed across the board. Go to their Twitter page and just look at how many people are saying, could we please just download the launcher from the website? This is ridiculous. This is absolutely ridiculous.
It's crazy because they have the Xbox app too. It works perfect as far as I'm concerned.
Yeah,
and it would have done actually. Yeah, it would have done an actual benefit to them too having it there because the Game Pass is there and they always promote that dang thing. It makes no sense.
And I'm actually looking now. Like I don't have a way to get back into. I don't have a launcher or anything. I have to like go to. Do I have to go to the website of the Microsoft Store and go there to relaunch it again? It's not even.
Yeah, you can. You can go to your search bar and search Fantasy, and it'll start as an app.
Will that actually allow it to run? Let's see here.
You search it out as an app.
Yeah. It looks like it's running. So yeah, okay.
And you have to launch it from there. The only option you have that maybe you didn't check was you can't get a desktop icon for it, but you can add it to your start bar.
Ugh.
So you could do that. Yeah.
Yeah, you're right. Looks like.
Yeah. So yeah, right? Talk about just general suck ass across the board. I don't have it installed for a very awesome technical reason. My C drive is my solid state drive. It's also my root drive that Windows and everything is on, right? It's a couple years old. It's more than a couple years old. It's only 250 gigs. And then I have a D drive that's 2 terabytes, right? Cool. Where do you think I install most games, Zach?
The D drive.
The D drive, right? Occasionally, if I know I'm going to be burning a game, maybe streaming it for days on end, I'll move it. And just for the load benefits and all that stuff, but generally things don't stay on my root drive very long. So I go to the Microsoft Store, no big deal. I got up at 2 a.m. to do this, by the way, because it was available at 2 a.m. East Coast time. I figured, hey, you know what? I'm gonna get up and I'm gonna stream as soon as it goes live, which was supposed to be 8 a.m. East Coast time. I was like, you know what? I'll work with Jason. We'll get Q's stuff. We'll take breaks so that I can get stuff assigned and proofread and stuff. But I'm gonna stream all day, basically. I'm gonna stream from 8 a.m. and we'll cap it off at about 5. Give me a chance to sit down, watch an episode of The Office or something, and zone, and come on back and do the cast tonight. That was the plan. Got up at 2 a.m., triggered the download. No problem. Cool. It was the initial download. I go upstairs, fall back asleep, get back up at like 7 o'clock to come back to shower and come back down and get this started. Now I see, hey, the launcher's going to do its thing. Okay, great, no problem. Launcher won't boot. What the fuck's going on? All right, fine. I then spend, after doing the show notes, and throughout the rest of the day, doing all the MMOBomb stuff. You put in Jason's first look up, which we'll talk about in a minute. Assigning stuff, proofreading stuff, working with Luis to put together a press release on a new project, which you'll be able to see advertised on MMOBomb.com tomorrow as a news piece. We'll give you the information for the launch of Gamer Power. Highly recommend you check it out. All that is going on while I'm trying to get this. It gives me the option, Zach, to download the game onto my C drive or D drive. It says you pick. All right, fine. I'm going to pick the D drive. Damn thing will not finish. Gets all the way to max and then errors. Retry, error. The few times that I did get it to finish, it then would not start. Why? Because upon clicking play in the Microsoft Store to try and get it to start the launcher and go get the rest of the files, it did a call for a startup file on the C drive where I didn't install the game. And I told the site that I wasn't installing the game there, but the call for the startup still goes to the root drive. All right, fine, let me try something. I'm going to download this 11 gigs onto my C drive. Look at that, starts up. Great. Here's the launcher. Great. It's starting to add files. Great. I ain't putting 72 fucking gigs on there. I don't have the room for that, and I'm not making room for that on my SSD. So fine, I got the launcher to start. Now I will stop this, and I will have the Windows move it, right? Move it from C to D. Now I'll start it, and it should be fine, because now the calls should be in the right place. Nope! It won't even open. It's like I don't even have it there anymore once I move it to the D drive. I've uninstalled and reinstalled this thing 16 times today.
That's dedication.
In massive numbers of combinations, trying different things from Microsoft support, from Phantasy Star support, from Joe Blow on the internet that tried this and it worked. Zach, you were throwing some advice at me on, hey, try this, try this. I did try the advice that you gave me. Didn't do a damn thing. Finally, 2 o'clock is coming. We're supposed to start the stream that I had intended to start 6 hours ago. Now I'm not even going to make it on time for our 2 p.m. start. Didn't end up streaming today. Launch day of the game. Couldn't do it. So angry. So angry at this.
You sound very delighted, Mike. I don't get it.
Yeah. All right. We're going to skip me talking about the actual game itself. Everybody knows my thoughts on it, and I've been brutally honest about the things I like and the things I don't like. If you want more of that, check out the Twitch streams at 2 o'clock Eastern, except for today. Come tomorrow. Hopefully it'll be fixed. If it's not fixed tomorrow, I'm just going to play on the Xbox. I don't fucking care. But Jason, you did get some hands-on time with it today. It is the first time, if I recall correctly, that you've ever touched this.
Yep. Any game with Phantasy Star in the title, this is the first time I've ever played it.
Because you were not going to do connection to the Japanese servers like Zach and I did. Hey, Zach, the hardest boss in the game was the CAPTCHA boss, wasn't it? Setting up your Sega ID to get onto there.
Changing your keyboard language to Japanese and trying to figure out how to learn Japanese on the fly.
Yeah, and you're like, is that line going through the CAPTCHA part of the character, or is it not part of the... All right, this is either D or K. I'm not sure which.
Yes.
But Jason, you got some hands-on time with it today on the PC. First time ever. I'm now interested. This is not something you've ever really been excited about. What'd you think? I know it's limited, but what did you think?
Yeah, because I played for about 30, 45 minutes. Got through the intro area, and I'm just in the lobby now, back on the ship. So that's as far as I've gotten. I will say that I'm actually surprised at how really detailed the character creator was.
Yeah.
Like, I started to get in there, I was like, okay, I can select some face, I can select some hair, whatever, the usual stuff. And then it's like, oh, you have this morphing thing, and this little window, you can, mold your character's shape of everything around. So, for a game that came out in, 2012, 2011?
Yeah, it's 8 years old.
Yeah, that's pretty impressive for a game, of that era. So, I did spend about 20 minutes probably in the character creator. I'm terrible, I'm just not creative. I wound up making just a guy, basically. I threw some stuff on him. I made a Dooman, so he's got the different colored eyes, whatever, but still, it's just some guy.
And that is just the beginning, because that game, even more so than Guild Wars 2, is all about fashion for a large percentage.
Says the Green Bunny Man, yeah.
Yes, for a large... I didn't say for me. For a large percentage of the audience, it is all fashion. It is a collection of beauty marks and tails and wings and outfits and hats and hairstyles. I mean, the hairstyles you picked from represent like this much of the actual hairstyles you can unlock just through gameplay. That doesn't even count like doing scratch-off tickets, which are their loot boxes or whatever. So, yeah, customization is a huge part of the game. What else?
Actual gameplay, then. Getting into it and trying it out for the first time. I'm a little clumsy with it, which maybe to be expected considering it's a new game. And I'm not that into action combat. Didn't play a whole lot of Terror or other games like that. So I'm not sure what I think of the combo system, whatever it is, where the little red circle shows up. You got to hit in just that little moment there. I tend to be a little spammy. When I'm hanging back, I made a what's the caster? Not cast. No, force. I made a force.
Okay.
So I mostly am using my right-click, hold down, I shoot a little fireball out. I try to do that as much as possible when there's nothing next to me. So if I'm just sitting back and I'm able to do that, just pew, 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 I can kind of get into the rhythm.
Yeah.
If I charge into melee range, it's like, wow, click, 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 wow, 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 hit everything at once. I don't do any of that, but I'm sort of okay with doing the long-range sniping with it. So I don't know. I'm not sure what I think about the combat, if it's going to be something I stick with later on that I still like and want to do later, but overall, it feels okay. I chose a hardcore mode to give you a choice of casual or hardcore for the tutorial.
Yep.
I chose hardcore. 'cause
All
I'm a real
story
gamer.
missions that have you some type of combat will give you that choice.
Oh, okay. I'll probably go casual from here on out because I went through all my potions. I died, and Elin had to resurrect me or whatever his name is.
Affin.
Yeah, Effin, that's it. Yeah. Ellen's a race in terror, right? The little girl race.
Yeah, that's the Elin. Yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, I died. He had to res me, but after he res me once, and that was kind of early on. That was before we got even to the boss fights. Before that, I did okay. And it's like the boss fight. The first one you fight is like after he does this big move, his head is going to be vulnerable. And I'm like, I can't target his head. There's like 6 different places I can target. I'm just shooting a fireball. I don't care. Fire it in wherever I can. I don't know how much of an issue that's going to be. I wish there was a little more of a harder-ish lock-on when you have that sort of thing. But yeah, I'm not going to be finesse. I'm going to brute force my way through and see how long that takes me, or if I just die all the time. We'll see how it goes.
Brute force will take you pretty far.
Well, I'm sure as in any MMO, it just first 20 levels or so just to keep whacking stuff.
Well, even further than that, the finesse portion is gonna hurt you long term, like late end game when you're 75 and you're trying to farm a specific set, and the best way to get it to up your chances or even have a chance of it dropping from a particular boss is to break its horn in combat. So then you
I have a horn too. I have a horn. My guy does.
Yes, you do. You know,
he's
stuff like
unicorn. I didn't know
stuff like that.
Horns.
It will be important to target specific parts. So,
sure.
But brute force, as far as just leveling, yeah, go for it. You'll be fine. You'll get all the way to 75.
When do I get a green bunny outfit?
When you earn 20,000 casino coins and buy the reward. So get to gambling.
Okay.
Get to gambling. Are you gonna play it more?
I'm gonna play through it a little while longer just to see what it's like to get a little better idea for it. I would say I don't anticipate it being like a main game that I get into a lot, but I'm not screaming at my computer wanting to uninstall it. So
it is a little older school feeling with all the menus. I mean, it is heavy menu driven.
And a lot of it does have that Asian feel to it to some degree.
How'd you feel about inventory? Has it been a problem yet? Really, probably wouldn't have been based on how far you said you've gotten. But
I don't think I've even opened my inventory. I have no idea.
All right. So yeah.
Like I said, my potions were on 1. I just kept spamming that when I was.
That'll be a future gripe we'll cover on the show when you get there. Then, Zach, what do you think of the game itself? Is it something you're going to try out? Have you even tried to download the PC? Are you going to play it on Xbox? Does it just not interest you anymore? What's the deal? Where you sit on this one?
Oh, it's definitely on my list. I'm right now playing Minecraft Dungeons. So once I'm done with that, then I'm going to go into Phantasy Star Online 2. And that seems like the smartest option right now.
Yeah,
so I'm
probably.
very glad I prioritized Minecraft Dungeons over this because I knew there was going to be a mess of a launch. I mean, every MMO is usually at least a little rocky for the first few days. So I'm hoping maybe by this weekend it'll clear up a bit. I'll log in, I'll play a little bit because I am hyped for it. I mean, it was a really long time ago that I played it. The game was very solid, at least what I was able to see. And every video I see of it, it still looks very current in its own way because of the actiony combat. Yeah. And then also the little sort of the Japanese flair of the menus being all over the place kind of has its own charm to it. So I'm looking forward to it. It's just a matter of time.
There is definitely a kick in the feels, even if you never played Phantasy Star Online or Phantasy Star Universe, but you have played some older MMOs where this kind of, it's upgraded a little bit. It's not like you don't think back and you go, this is Tibia, or something like that. But yeah, it does have a little nostalgic punch. Yeah, you'll have to let us know when you check it out. And yeah, we did all expect issues with the store. And here's like the thing. Like initially when they said, Zach, you had mentioned they didn't do a PC beta. They didn't for North America. They did an Xbox closed beta, an Xbox open beta, and then the Xbox launch. Simultaneously, like the following week was the PC release, which was today. But they never did a PC beta, and when asked about it, they kind of just said, it really doesn't need one. And to a certain extent, I understood what they were saying at the time, Zach. They were saying, look, the game's been out for 8 years. All we had to do was localize it. We don't need to beta test localization. They should probably check grammar and spelling a little more in some spaces than they did, but, that's not something we need to beta test. What they did not take into account was, hey, you might not need to beta test the game, but these are not the servers you already use that you know inside and out in Japan. You're using different servers through Microsoft right now, so you probably want to beta test loads and balancing and stress test those servers and things like that. You can't possibly get the audience that you need to stress test the servers via the Xbox. You have to get it via the PC or via Xbox and PC together. Some type of stress test there would have to involve the PC. Oh, and by the way, you're not putting it through the Sega ID platform as far as downloading, so here's a new downloading and installing platform that you have never used, and it's exclusive to the PC. There should have been a beta test for those things. I'll give you a pass if you want to say, as far as the game goes, Zach, it's been out for 8 years. What beta testing do we need to do? We were putting it in English, and that was it. That was it. But there were other aspects that should have been even just like weekend beta tested if they did that. Fire it up once or twice over the course of 3 months, and then we'll see you in May type deal.
Yeah, they were either charmed by Phil Spencer saying, "Oh, it'll be fine, guys. Let's go ahead. It's been years. Everything's okay." Or they were just very arrogant, thinking, "Oh, we got this. It's been so many years, and we don't need to do anything." Yeah. It's one of those two. I don't think it's anything in between that, because just the way they handled it, this seems extremely suspect. So it's either gullibility or it's just incompetence.
Yeah. Let us know if, there's a lot of you I know that have been waiting for this game, and even when it came out on the Xbox, either didn't have an Xbox One and this wasn't worth a purchase of an Xbox One for you, which even being a fan, I probably would. The only way, I own Xboxes, fine, it was no big deal for me. The only way this would have enticed me to buy an Xbox is if it would only have been released on the Xbox. Then maybe I sit and think about it a little bit. But even if I didn't have an Xbox, being the fan I am, knowing it was coming to PC, I would have waited too. I know there's a lot of you in that boat. Tell us your horror stories about getting it installed, or maybe you were one of the lucky ones, and there's a lot of you too. Justin had no problem at all. Jason, seems like you had no problem at all in the install, just a few things on the settings because you missed that the launcher was where you adjust resolution.
And I've actually, while we were playing around with stuff, I actually think I fixed that wall, so I think I'll be good on that sense.
Yeah, so some of you, Mr. Happy has been streaming it all fucking day. I stopped by his stream and was chatting during one of my reinstall phases just to see what his initial thoughts on the game. So it's not everybody, but it is a decent amount of us that are having problems. Let us know what you think. Give us your impressions of it in the comments below. Now, we also, this week, posted 2 first looks. One went up today, one went up yesterday. Today, we put up Crucible. I want to do that one first. Jason, you did the first look for this. And again, this is another thing I was kind of mentioning at the beginning of the show. You and I have given extensive opinions about Crucible as recently as last week. You and I basically did our Crucible first look review last week because we had streamed it the day before. So let's start with you, Zach. Amazon Games Breakaway gets canceled before it sees the light of day besides some early alpha testing. New World gets delayed. Presumably, that's kind of looking like what might have to be the flagship title for Amazon out of the gates here. It's been a few years before Amazon ever actually put anything into the market. Crucible's the first of the titles to actually hit the market. Have you played it? What do you think?
I have not, and my prediction is, I'll keep this short and sweet, it's shutting down by the end of the year. And New World will shut down at the end of 2021.
What?
Hold me to it.
Oh my God, this just got all shades of controversial.
The game is 45% on Steam. Hardly no one wants to play it unless they're paid. It's not a good game. I've watched so much gameplay of it. It looks super boring. And I don't think anything can save it. They don't have direction at Amazon Game Studios to save this game. Look at New World. Constant flip-flopping, and it's just going to continue.
Some bold statements. I don't disagree that I think at some point Crucible will not be a thing. Unfortunately, Jason, you and I have expressed opinions on the game, and there are things that we think should have already been there, and if they add them quickly enough will certainly help. But I feel like not having them there at launch, the only reason Magic Arena survived not having a friends list is because it was fucking Magic the Gathering.
Yeah.
You know, if any other card game had tried to pull that, it would have been closed already. And I think Crucible is going to suffer for a lot of those things. The maps being a little too big, or the respawns being a little too far away, whichever way you want to put it, as far as getting back into the action being somewhat challenging at times. No mini-map. Chat is coming. We're going to cover that in a second. Actually, I'll just toss it to you, Jason, to talk about the things they are changing, and then I'll let you reply to Zach on, will these types of changes save it from closing within 6 months? Is Zach's prediction.
Yeah, so they did a dev diary update video with their head of community, Josh Davis, who started off the video talking about that. We're listening to feedback and we are dealing with stability and so forth and so on. And so they have other things coming. And then they brought on their franchise lead, Colin Johansson, formerly of ArenaNet, formerly game director of Guild Wars 2. And he laid out specific things that they were working on. He said they were improving the player onboarding experience, making the tutorial optional, improving the overall experience, as well as providing loading screen tips. Toggleable in-match scoreboard and surrender feature, improving overall performance, improving match flow, which Johansson described as, quote, the process that it takes from actually queuing, getting all the way into a game, and getting into a match. Improving the UX, especially in the heart of the hive, so players can, quote, better navigate within the map, and better feedback in combat. And then there was what he called the big one, which, as you alluded to, the ability to communicate better in combat. In addition to the ping system, he said that voice chat would be coming to the game before text chat, even though they'd hoped to deliver both of those at the same time.
Yeah,
so,
that one's staggering to me, that there is no ability to communicate.
I'm trying to... I really trying to figure out...
How did you not learn from Destiny taking such a huge hit on that type of stuff? And this is actually competitive. At least Destiny was PvE competitive. This is PvP competitive. You need, or you want it to be, let's say, you hope it will be PvP competitive. How do you not have voice chat or emotes or just something? God.
I don't know. Well, they had a ping system, so they at least had some sort of communication. So it's not completely nothing, but I try to figure out whether they wanted to do it and couldn't get it in time because they just didn't have the skills or whatever, or if their master plan was, we're going to combat toxicity but not letting people talk trash at each other and call each other names in chat or whatever. I really can't figure out which one of those it was, but in any case, it was definitely a mistake either way to not do it.
Well, game development lives and dies by leadership, and what have we seen it consistently across the board at this overarching Amazon Game Studios? Horrible leadership. As a result, they probably have it on their chalkboard ready to go, and they were thinking about it, but because they were working on so many other things at the wrong points in time and not working in a consistent and efficient workflow, it just fell through the cracks. I mean, I really doubt that when you're making a game like this, a chat box or voice chat is not on your list of features at some point. And so the only explanation is it's just an example of poor leadership, just like their previous game.
I can't get past the feeling, Jason, that, and we've talked about this so many times, that this just it died as far as Amazon was concerned. It was push it out or we don't push it out. Pick one. And probably some people, to Zach's point, maybe, the team leads and the supervisors saying, look, there's still a lot of stuff that we haven't been able to put in because of leadership changes or this or this or this or this, or New World sucking our resources, whatever the case was.
COVID-19 or whatever.
Right, COVID-19 doing this. And there was probably some pushback saying, look, we can't launch this without chat. And somebody bigger at Amazon saying, okay, it releases Wednesday or it doesn't release. Pick one. I almost get the feeling, and maybe it wasn't that dire, but that funding was gone. It was, we're done. Put it out. We need to start making money on it, and we'll add some of those things later. And now you probably aren't going to make a lot of money on it. I will sum up my experience, because I gave all the reasons why last week. It just wasn't fun. To me, it just wasn't fun. There were aspects and things that I thought, that could be really cool. That is neat. I would like to see that. Yes, I think I would like to play that. The heart, what is it? The Heart of the Swarms?
Heart of the Hives.
Heart of the Hives. I was like, I like that match style. This is cool. I can get behind this match style, even not being a huge PvP guy. I like this. The resource one was just a basic, that was basically a domination, except it was a harvester instead of a dedicated area with a flag.
Or whatever,
that was just a domination, but or a capture the point.
And then there's the Battle Royale, which we were wonderful at.
The Battle Royale is the worst of the options in that game by far, which you thought that would have been the easiest of the three to attract an audience to. I don't know. I can't get behind it closing down in 6 months. Zach, I don't disagree that it's probably, unless it makes some substantial changes in, say, the next quarter, the next 3 months, because I think it probably doesn't even have that long, but I'll give it that long for a patient player base to allow some changes to happen. If it doesn't make some substantial changes, I do agree with you that it probably will close sooner rather than later. But I think by the end of the year, I don't think Amazon wants that PR. Not with New World coming up in the next, month here? When the hell was that?
3 months. August, I think
it was pushed back to August, so 2 months now. I don't think they want that PR. I think they would let it sink into next year's calendar and then quietly disappear, hoping that New World takes the press over at that point. Jason, do you think end of the year?
No, I agree that I think it could go away rather suddenly, but I think I at least give it into 2021 at some point. And again, same as you, if they don't make some major changes in 3-4 months, that's going to be the critical time. If they can do that, maybe they can still recover and keep it going. But if they don't, then it's not going to go anywhere.
It's not free to play,
still until 2021 at least.
I agree. It's not free to play, but I would absolutely be remiss in not saying and giving you a chance to elaborate, Zach, on why you think, based on how much you may have touched the game, New World doesn't make it till the end of 2021.
Oh, I can elaborate.
Please do. Please do.
Can you without breaking an NDA?
Everything I've seen from New World.
Yeah, you're not under any type of NDA.
I'm not. No, I'm not. I'm not in the. Right. I'm not under any NDA. But I have watched a lot of different videos about it, and everything that I see is they constantly keep going back on what the original intent in the game was going to be. From my understanding, it was supposed to be a full loot sort of PvP style game. Well, then they built in a lot of PvE elements. Then they built in opt-in PvP. Then they sort of changed back to full loot PvP, at least if I remember the timeline correctly. And they've been going back and forth. They don't seem to have a direction. And whenever you don't have a direction as to what your game is going to be, and you're planning on launching very soon, your game doesn't actually have a focus. And if you don't have a focus for your game, what are people going to go in and expecting other than just a bunch of ideas but no cohesiveness? And that's what the game looks like. It looks like mostly just a better looking Conan Exiles, but it took a while for Conan Exiles to gain a fan base even. So I don't.
That game was Conan Exiles was definitely a slow burn. A slow burn. Jason, it's hard to argue with any of those points. Like, I don't think you or I are going to look Zach in the face and say, no, they know exactly what they're doing with that project, because he's not wrong. It has shifted focus multiple times. You know, you and I had a conversation where you were like, I said, hey, do you want to do something? And you were like, well, wait a minute. I thought they were trying to make a survival game. And I said, I thought that this was what they were trying to make too. But now
like a month ago, we learned it was free to play.
Yeah. Not New World, but yeah.
Crucible. Sorry, Crucible. I'm talking
about New World.
Oh, okay.
But he's not wrong about that, about New World and the constant changes, the adding the PvP, the subtracting the PvP, the compromising the PvP, the adding the survival elements, the taking the survival elements away. If you go look at the dev blogs, it's confusing as hell if you look at it in chronological order. And you would say the same thing about Crucible, that it seems like it was going to be one thing, then became something else, then became something they got that sense from Breakaway, too. That there wasn't really a core focus. They knew they wanted it to be this sports ball-y type game, but there really wasn't a focus on should it be hero character driven and, you know, we'll create lore and stuff like that. There were gaps in all of this. I can't argue with anything you said, Zach, but I still can't go with end of 2021. Now, we do know Amazon's working on other projects. We have no idea what they are. We have no idea whether they're going to be console, PC, free to play, buy to play. I don't know. We don't know what Smedley's working on. You know, he's over at Amazon. John Smedley. We don't know what he's working on. But yeah, I can't. It's one of those weird situations where I don't agree with you, Zach. But it's not like I can say, "Here's why, big dog." Yeah. I don't have a reason why.
The only reason New World survives past 2021, in my opinion, is because of the fact it's going to be buy to play and it has the free to play option. Crucible doesn't have an out. It's done. It's sliding already. It's down to 2,000 players, at least what I just checked out a couple minutes ago. Mm-hmm. And that's up from its all-time peak after paying a lot of different streamers to check out the game. 10,000 players. All-time high on Steam.
I will tell you this, Jason, it's been another week of, you know how many gaming websites all three of us look at on any given day. Big dogs, IGN, you know, small dogs, this, you know, Jim's MMO site and stuff like that. We make the rounds every day. I still have yet to see a single advertisement for Crucible. Like a side banner ad or an inline ad. I'm not saying they're not there, because obviously, you know, a lot of them, just like our own site, you hit and you're going to get one of however many ads are in the package for that particular day or week. So there may be some, but I have yet to see one. I will tell you what I have not seen anything of, and I'm pretty sure there just must not be any, because I'm convinced I would have seen one of these now. I have not seen a pre-YouTube roll ad on anything that was a Crucible ad.
You know, as much as we can talk about how much they screwed around with the design and whatever, their marketing team needs to like be replaced. And that's been just abysmal.
I just want to point out before we move on, I was actually originally hyped for New World, and I'm very sad about where it's at right now.
Oh, you were all about New World.
Yeah. I'm not. I wasn't 100% negative. I just seeing everything
We
that's
talked about
popping
that
up
on a cast a long time ago. That you were hyped and Jason and I weren't interested at that time. Then we saw the E3 trailer this year, or 2019, last year, and Jason and I all of a sudden were like, you know what? Maybe I'll check it out. And that's when you were kind of like, I'm not kind of interested anymore. So what a difference a year and a half can make. Before we leave the first look reviews, the other one we posted yesterday. I encourage you to check both of these out. Jason did Crucible. I did this one for Shadow Arena. You Black Desert Online fans, this was kind of ripped from your Shadow Arena PvP mode in Black Desert Online. A bit different, and some rework happened, obviously, because it's been converted into a 40-person battle royale. It's got the same art aesthetic as Black Desert Online, so if you like the graphics there, you're going to like the graphics here. No difference there. Some named heroes that you BDO fans are going to know, and abilities might not be exactly what you imagine some of these characters to have or do, but for balancing reasons or whatever, they've had to make some changes on that front too. 40-person battle royale, action combat variety with PvE spaced into it as far as like the main leveling mechanic for unlocking your abilities as you go. I'm going to save my opinions for last there, but that's the basic synopsis of the game itself. Heroes 10 right now. They work on they'll early access. You'll have a bunch that you can access, and they will give you one just for taking part in early access. 3 will be locked behind cash shop purchases, utilizing either in-game currency or cash to actually buy them, or a Founders Pack purchase. 10 heroes total, and when it does launch, anticipate like a hero rotation type thing, where you'll have a couple different free ones each week, each month, however the hell they're going to do it, but that's the plan there. Zach, well, let's go to you first on this one. What'd you think? Have you played it? Have you checked it out? And if not, have you checked out the first looks? What were your thoughts? Because I know you are a BDO guy.
Yep, at least at one point. But
you're an off and on BDO guy. But when you're on, you are eyeballs deep.
Exactly. Yeah. So I did check it out. I have about 3.5 hours or so in the game. I uninstalled it already, so there's sort of a final verdict, I guess. But it wasn't all that bad. It was average. I had an all right time with it. But what I learned is 2 things. That the combat for PvP, at least for me, I don't like it in PvP. I always loved BDO for the PvE. The PvP, if you're used to it, you probably will like it. It's just way too chaotic for me. and the simplification of the abilities probably doesn't help either, because it really locks you into timing, where the normal combos of BDO allows for a bit more flexibility. And because I've done some PvP a little bit in Black Desert, and I'm much better at it in Black Desert than I was in that game in Shadow Arena. So yeah, I thought it was all right, but combine that with the low player base and the expensive cash shop, because Pearl Abyss, which is the second thing I learned, is greedy. They're very greedy. Whoever they have published it to is very greedy too. They just go toe to toe, combine efforts there. It's all right though. If they fix the balancing and lower cash shop prices, which isn't going to happen, then I'll probably check it out again.
So
I didn't completely write
to give you some idea, viewers, on Zach, they're talking about prices. Heroes, if you buy the in-game or the cash shop currency with no bundle discounts, right? If you're just getting face value for it, not 10% extra because you spent $400 or anything. It's a penny a point, so that makes the heroes $9.90 USD per hero. If you do it cash shop wise, skins are $20. So a singular skin for one of your heroes is $19.90, I think, to be specific. To unlock those heroes with in-game currency costs 30,000 in-game silver. Zach, I don't know about you, but it's funny that you said that you have 3.5 hours of gameplay, because if you check my Steam, I'm at like 3.5, 4 hours of gameplay too. I don't know about you, but that translated into about 3,800 silver.
Yeah. You're gonna be going at it for a long time,
or maybe 4,800 silver. But by the way, 3,000 of that was from compensation packages that they kept mailing players every day. It is a super grind for that silver. Like they have to change that. I never came in first, so I don't know if there's like a huge silver payout if you're first or not. But I think the highest I came in out of all the games I played was 6th or 7th. Oh god, yeah, it's bad. So we'll come back to some thoughts there in a second. Jason, go ahead. What do you think of this one? I don't think you played this. I gave Jason the option. I said, do you want to do the Crucible first look or the Shadow Arena first look? And as I'm typing it, I'm like, there's no way he's going to take Shadow Arena. There is no fucking... he must have been reading my mind, because he just typed the word Crucible for no reason, So what'd you think?
I have a hotkey to type Crucible, Alt-C. There we go. It's right out there. But yeah, I watched your video, and honestly, I gotta say I was kind of bored watching it. Not because you're unentertaining or so on, but it was like, you go, you hack up a monster, you go walk 5 feet, hack up another monster, walk 5 feet, hack up another monster, and I was like, I don't mind having some PvE in my in my PvP battle royale type game. Obviously Crucible does that sort of thing. We've played the Cycle. We probably played other games that are like that, but it's not like that. You have those MMOs where it is a monster every 10 feet because they don't want you to get bored or have an empty space or whatever, I guess. And just watching you do that for over and over was like, that doesn't seem entertaining to me. I didn't find that enjoyable, because then we actually found a player. The conflict was over in like 5 seconds, and whoever would have won. Putting aside the fact that you got jacked or whatever, but even so, it's like you spend half an hour doing the monster killing and then 10 seconds doing the player killing. It's like that's a little too much, I think. I wish that was a little spaced out, or a little fewer of them or whatever, but I don't see it as something I think I'm ever going to get into.
Yeah, it is one of those things, Zach, that I feel like the worst... I want a battle royale, and I know, Jason, you want this too. We've talked about this. I want a battle royale in the fantasy space to work. I want a good battle royale that's, sword and board, magic spells, that type of stuff, not assault rifles and machine guns and stuff like that. And we've seen Skyforge try it. That was abysmal. I know PUBG has their mode, but that's more parody than actually what I'm talking about here. We've seen Ashes of Creation tried one with their Apocalypse. That's not doing very well. In fact, that's going away. Now we have this, and I'm like, okay, you know what? I know this is a mode from an MMO that I've never played. And Zach, I do have a question on that in a second. So maybe they could do this. And I didn't, Zach, I'm like you. I did not have fun. It's not like I didn't have the adverse reaction to it that I did to Crucible, where I was just like, there's some neat things in here, but I am not going to play this. I kept having I'm not sure if I like this or not. Let me try one more match just to see. I'm still not feeling juice, but I don't know if I should uninstall it yet. Let me try a match tomorrow and see how it goes. But Jason is dead on. I did not like that the Battle Royale tactic of avoiding everybody, which some people do to great effect in other Battle Royales, is the strategy in this one. It is absolutely the best thing for you to do, to avoid everybody until there are 2 of you left, if possible. Because engaging with players really just felt like a fucking crapshoot to me. Whoever got their initial stun off first, 90% of the time, was going to win the encounter.
Yep.
It can't feel that way in BDO's PvP, can it?
I don't remember it being that bad.
Like, did you feel that way when you were playing Shadow Arena? That this is like, whoever gets stun locked first loses?
I remember there was a Valkyrie type character. I don't know what the actual character's name, but if you know the class, you know what I'm talking about. And me and my friend were, I think, in like the top, I don't know, like 3 or 4. It was coming down to the wire, and we were wandering around, and this instant I get almost one-tapped by this character. We're like, what was that? Like, we knew that there were people around, and we saw the other person one-tapped. Almost one-tapped my friend, too, because it did an AoE, and we basically lost that encounter. We watched after that, and it was a character that had a really long range ability that just charged it up and just dropped it on us. And the time to kill, combined with the fact that
the time to kill is quick as shit.
It's super quick, which is really bad.
It's faster than shooters. I mean, it's quick.
And combine that with the fact that you guys both mentioned the fact that gear is so important that you don't want to attack anybody, because really there's not a lot of benefit at the beginning because there's a grace period, so you just respawn, which is the stupidest thing in a battle royale game.
Well, I will say,
top of that,
but it's necessary in the way they've built the game. You've got to give people some time to open up their damn skills. That's why the grace period's there. You're going to get mowed down without any skills. It is beneficial to kill somebody in the grace period, because player killing provides a shit ton more experience than doing the PvE. If you get 1 kill in the grace period, you will unlock all 4 of your abilities right away. Yeah, I mean, or you'll be damn close to it. But the drawback is if you get killed, anything you picked up is now gone.
Well, and the fact that by wasting that time on that encounter, you could have gotten so much better gear that outweighs that experience. Yeah. And that's the problem, is it's so gear dependent. And you can get to the point where you just have a really good run, you have really good gear, and as a result, you're able to, last longer, and you might be able to win a couple of encounters. But it takes so long to have that build up, and it's so inconsistent that it doesn't create an overall fun experience. Yeah. It more makes it a BDO minigame than an actual standing on its own battle royale game. Like, I felt more like I was playing BDO most of the time than I was playing a battle royale, just because I was just killing so much. I was just farming. I was like, oh, I'm playing BDO again. Okay, cool.
I'm not ready to give up on this one just yet. Not yet, Jason, as fast as I was on Crucible. I honestly think that Shadow Arena, with some balancing tweaks, it desperately needs balanced. There are some, and I don't care that there's, apparently, and this is alleged, I didn't read it myself, but allegedly there is somebody that works for Developed or whatever that is like avidly defending Goyen on different forums and stuff. Goyen's overpowered. Screw you.
Is that the axe guy you were playing?
No, not the guy I was playing. Goyen's one of the ones you have to pay to unlock, or farm up 30,000 silver. He's one of the locked ones. Is overpowered. It desperately needs balance, and I think even the abilities, Zach, I think need to be re-examined. When you have characters that are skilled enough at a certain point to just, okay, if I hit you with the first stun, I'm going to win the combat. Because I'm going to hit this, and I'm going to pause for 3 seconds, hit you with this stun, hit you with this knockdown. Yeah, there are times that you can counter, but you have to know and recognize, and that's not user friendly to brand new users at all.
Yeah.
You're going to get mowed down and you're going to leave. I think this one can be saved. Not that it's going to be stunning success or anything, but I think this one can be saved. But it's Pearl Abyss. I don't know if they're actually going to save it. That's the problem.
It's not dead to me. I uninstalled it, but I have Gigabit as well. I could easily reinstall it. So it's not dead to me like Crucible is, even without playing it, just by watching it.
Jason, this doesn't get your fantasy battle royale juices flowing, I guess.
I want a fantasy battle royale that's kind of sort of realistic. Like I want it to be,
me
like,
too.
like how PUBG or something is, with actual guns or something, as opposed to necessarily magic and unicorns and whatever sort of other crazy stuff. So
you want like the Conqueror's Blade of
battle
battle
like
royales.
that. Conqueror Blade, Chivalry, Mountain Blade, however you want to call it.
I was going to mention Chivalry.
Right. All right, before we move over to the bombs, real quick news piece, and this is going to segue into our question of the week, so make sure you pay attention to this one. I don't know what's going on. I don't know what Gamigo is doing at this point. Like, I wanted to give them every benefit of the doubt when they picked up all the assets from Tryon Worlds and then figured out, oh, hey, we better let XL Games know that, we own some of this stuff now and all this stuff. And then when they did the whole ArcheAge Unchained and, hey, we're going to take all the pay-to-win stuff out of it, and if you just buy the box, which is probably what arguably Tryon Worlds should have just done at the beginning with ArcheAge, and I think a lot of us thought that at the time. We would rather just give you $30 for the box and call it a day. Well, here's the thing. There's going to be an expansion, Garden of the Gods, that was always billed as an expansion and is now being billed mysteriously under the DLC flag, not the expansion flag. Why? Because ArcheAge players, the free-to-play players, are going to get the content of that for free and have some of the stuff that ArcheAge Unchained players might just have access to in the cash shop. But story-wise, content-wise, they're going to get all of that for free. But if you own ArcheAge Unchained and you were banking on getting expansions, future expansions for free because that's what they said they were going to do, now you're probably pretty pissed because this is being retransitioned into DLC and you're going to have to pay for it. And Jason, it really comes down to one thing on why. The Arc Pass didn't work.
Mm-hmm.
To the point that the way they were going to fund this game failed. Not failed because nobody bought it. Failed because it didn't freaking work. They couldn't get the systems to work. And so now all of a sudden they have to do this to make that game sustainable. Are we going to be saying goodbye to ArcheAge Unchained?
What is the saying that I've heard sometimes, that if you can't run your business well, you don't have a right to still operate it, something like that along those lines. And that's kind of where they're at, I think. I mean, they even acknowledge, hey, we screwed up we screwed up trying to get money from you this way. We're going to now go get money from you this way.
Yeah,
just go away.
Yeah, I mean they're not even coy about it, which I can respect, at least the honesty and the directness. But yeah, so here's what Jason's talking about. This is in a forum post from the team over at Gamigo. Our extensive internal valuation both at Gamigo and with Exile Games, we concluded that the way forward for the game is to take some dependencies away from the Arc Passes and focus instead on introducing new content in the form of game expansions, which are sustained via a one-time access cost. This decision is based on an evaluation of the market and what gamers are familiar with in games and MMOs with business models comparable to Unchained. First off, there aren't very many, I can't think of any off the top of my head, in fact, MMOs with a comparable business model of having both a buy-to-play version and a free-to-play version of the same fucking game. So let's stop that.
Secret World.
Okay.
Outlaws Online, I think, still does.
There were statements made last year at the release of Unchained addressing how future content would be delivered. At the time, these comments reflected how we theorized the future would unfold. Due to the deficiencies mentioned, talking about the Arc Pass, which they mentioned earlier in the post, it was important for us to pivot to a retail expansion approach to continue sustaining the title. Zach, here's the thing. I don't think people would have been as pissed about, hey, ArcPass didn't work. That's how we were going to fund this. Guys, we're going to have to change things and start charging for DLC. If it would have been mentioned, you know, back when this stuff failed, not days before this shit's going to release. That, I think, is one of the biggest problems that ArcheAge Unchained players have. Not that you had to pivot models. Most people with a brain can understand your monetization didn't work. You might have to change your approach. Fine. But being told a mere days before, that doesn't work for gamers.
It really doesn't. It's poor communication, and I don't know. I feel like people keep trying to make ArcheAge work, and it somewhat works, like with ArcheAge Unchained initially, but everyone just figures out that it's just never going to work, and then they yearn for the days of ArcheAge Alpha back in the day, of when things were much better. But then they don't realize that it would have failed regardless. It's just ArcheAge. It's what it does, which is sad. It has good concepts. It's just I don't see it ever succeeding, and This is another example.
So where do they go from here, Jason? Do you just close Unchained and just put it back in the free-to-play? Do you, like, I have no idea. Do you close the free-to-play and just make it Unchained? Where do you go?
That would be a nightmare.
Here's secondary question of the week: which closes first, ArcheAge Unchained or Crucible?
Massively, our friend Bree over at Bree Royce over at Massively did get kind of like I guess it wasn't a mini interview. It looks like they sent over some questions about the news piece. Obviously, we didn't do the same because Unchained not free to play. We're just kind of segueing it in here because ArcheAge, the free-to-play people, get it for free, and it's a really interesting topic. And Jason and I were both disappointed that we had no real reason to cover this when it was announced last week. So now we'll find a way. So Massively said most Unchained players buy DLC. Must Unchained players buy DLC to access the expansion? And Gamigo said yes, and basically referenced the forum post. Why the late switch from calling it an expansion to DLC? Because that's another sticking point here. Garden of the Gods is more than just an update. It continues ArcheAge's main storyline. Also, the wording was chosen to differentiate between the contents of the two versions of the game, which will receive the new area adapted to their different business models. I think what they're trying to imply there, Jason, is that for ArcheAge, the free version, this is an expansion, and for ArcheAge Unchained, this is DLC.
Frankly, neither of them makes sense.
Right.
I mean, to be perfectly honest, there's no real difference between the words expansion and DLC. It is content you're going to download. It is going to expand the game. So
I love Bree sometimes. I absolutely love Bree. This has an editor's note on it, by the way, this answer that says, with late switch, we were getting at the fact that the original announcement of the expansion for both games does not mention the word DLC or anything about payment at all, which I mentioned earlier in this, but Bree calling it out there. Then finishing up, will free-to-play ArcheAge players be able to play for free? Yes, story-wise the content is identical. Only certain items and other content will be available through in-game store purchases. How does Gamigo justify charging for DLC? As stated in our post, we've had to adapt our current business model to focus less on the ArcPass system and much more on the expansion of the game through new content. And will future expansions be distributed the same way? Is a question. They replied, ArcheAge and its Unchained version will receive new content through regular updates as well as larger expansions, and Bree points out that doesn't really answer the question. We weren't asking, is there going to be more content? We were asking, is future content going to be distributed the same way as this? And I think generally that's the biggest issue, is that this is all of a sudden, and it comes out, what, June 9th? And it's already been advertised for a long time now. That's more, I think, what people are pissed about than you saying, hey, if they would have said 2 months ago, we're going to have to charge you for this because ArcPass failed, I think people would have been miffed, and then the story would have been gone. Now,
I think that it actually wasn't even announced. I think it showed up on the cash shop or showed up in the store or whatever.
Oh, geez.
It's costing this much, and people were like, hey, what's going on here? So
this is nuts. This is absolutely bonkers.
And now they're just taking a wait-and-see approach to see who actually buys it.
Yeah.
Was the rage actually rage, or are people just gonna buy it at a high percentage?
I remember every once in a while, Jason will say something like really pithy, and he's like very proud of saying it, and I do the same thing. You know, I'm like, oh, Jason, that's really clever that I just said that. Come on, Jason, that's clever. This was one of them. We were talking in Discord about ArcheAge Unchained with the first time they were doing a free trial weekend, and I said something like, oh, that's a terrible sign for your very, very new game. And Jason's like, well, yeah, I mean, but it's just a free trial weekend. You know, it's been out for a month or so now. I really don't read too much into it. And my reply was, yeah, I wouldn't either if there wasn't already a free version of this game also simultaneously available. It's not like you are using this to try and entice people, hey, check out our game. We'll remove the fee so you could check it out and hopefully buy it. There's already a version of that if you just want people to check out the game without having to pay a fee. So, anyway. All right, let's slide over and do the weekly bombs. Zach, you're up first.
Yep, so I'll give a dub bomb to Royal Crown. It's
Crown Royal? What's the matter with that? It's a good drink.
No, Royal Crown.
Oh.
Yeah.
My bad.
It's a dub bomb, so it's positive. Okay, I'm being positive right now.
All right.
It's a battle royale game. It's free to play. Almost no one's really talking about it right now, which is a shame because it has somewhat of a healthy mix of MOBA and RPG elements, and it's done in a way that it's not like Shadow Arena where you're just doing a lot of PvE and then very little PvP because there's not a whole lot of benefit until late game because you want to build up your gear. This game, if you actually do PvP and you go out of your way and you attack stuff, you get a decent bit of benefit. Not only get you XP, but you also get the opponent's loot, and it's balanced in a way where you're not going to feel like, okay, well, I just went up against a brick wall here. If you find out in the first couple seconds, hey, these people clearly have a bit more gear than us, you're not going to be dead in 2 seconds. You have a chance where you could potentially get away and do a little bit of maneuvering and then readjust your strategy and continue on. So it has a good bit of complexities to it while remaining simplistic because it is also on mobile as well. So there is some mobile constraints there that you do have to worry about. For example, as far as I could tell, you couldn't really press a button just to attack the nearest target, which is a bit annoying. I wish there was a way to do that. There's also mobile UI through and through throughout this game. But for the most part, it seems pretty fun, and it seemed to have captured an audience, but it initially had a lot of hacking issues, which is why it initially was down at like a mixed or mostly negative rating. But now on Steam, it's back up to a mostly positive rating around like 70%, because it seems like they fixed those issues. So I would say give it a shot. Fun game.
You playing it? You dig it?
Yep, around like 10, 15 hours so far.
Nice. Why don't you give me a little short first look? We'll do a typical contracted rates. Give me a little short first look. I'll put it up there. Jason, we're going to have to do game pages tomorrow.
Yeah, I've got another one I have to do, whatever.
So, yeah. We missed it totally, too. Yeah. So, we'll do some game pages. We'll put those up on the site so that you can check them out. We'll get them up tomorrow. It's late, so we'll get them up tomorrow.
It's very late.
Zach, if you want to do...
I'm very hungry and I want to go for dinner. Let's get through the bombs.
It sounds like a 10-minute first look or so. If you want to throw one together...
Okay, move on. Yeah, we know. All right, move on. Come on.
Probably this weekend.
My A-bomb... My A-bomb is going to Riot, who announced today they're going to put basically advertising or the sponsor... What is it exactly? They're going to have branding from their sponsor or from their partners in some of their esports events. Now... I don't mind that necessarily. I don't mind advertising, whether it's in sports or esports or whatever. What gets me is how the announcement just walked around the issue. Someone gave all these other reasons. They said they wanted to more deeply integrate our partners to engage local and regional fan bases, build a richer viewing experience around esports, and create an environment that exudes the energy found in traditional sports. Then they said, we see this as an important next step to help our leagues and teams reach their next stage of growth. In other words, it's going to give them money. That's the reason. That is 100% the reason. It just bugs me that they took a while to get there and gave all these other, we're enhancing the experience kind of crap. No, they're paying you money to be advertising your game. That's all. Just fess up to it.
I'm going to give an A-bomb to Jason Winter for being
being
grumpy
hungry?
and hungry. No, I'm gonna give a dub bomb to Ion for getting some new content. Check out the website for all of it. It's quite a bit of it. There's like new zones, new dungeons, some revamps of systems that were a bit behind the time. I know a lot of that game might be behind the times, but that's fine.
Yeah, you don't say.
There's a lot of systems in there that were really behind the times, and they're getting a bit of a revamp. Quite a nice little update for Ion players. I'm glad to see that. From the viewers, Kirito PT says, just want to give a da-bomb to everyone that watches and is part of the MMOBomb stream. Made a couple of friends through the streams and we're enjoying video games together. Yeah, that's very cool. I've been seeing pairing people up that talk about games the next time I see them. Like playing little game matchmaker. So yeah, stop by Monday through Friday, 2 p.m. Eastern for free-to-play streams. Jason or I, myself, doing something there. Go ahead, Jason. Take the next one.
I know you wanted to have like a 10-hour stream today. You're making up for it with like a 2-hour podcast.
Oh, for God's sakes, we're like 10 minutes longer than usual. Shut up.
But Population Unknown says, is it me or is the bromance between Magic Man and Jason off the chart?
And if that wasn't well-timed, Population Unknown, because no, there is no bromance between Jason and I anymore.
You're breaking my heart.
No, I didn't even know we had a bromance. I was like, I saw that and I was like, I gotta put that in the show, but what if Jason and I ever like actually been nice to each other? We typically fight and disagree. Maybe that's it.
We're more Bremenes?
Bremenes. Go ahead, Zach.
James Esparza says, I believe you get enough in-game credits to unlock the Battle Pass, but I don't think Crucible will last long if it doesn't make money.
Everybody on this cast agrees with you. We just disagree about timing, apparently. Dog YV72. Dude, Crucible is hot dookie. It was a decent attempt, but I think they'd be better off funding games like Gigantic or WildStar that lacked funding and marketing. Might go with you on giving Gigantic another try. As much as I love WildStar, funding and marketing was not the problem.
No.
Go ahead, WildStar.
That's my nickname. I thought I was Anderson Cooper. Now I'm WildStar, apparently.
Oh, you're the Silver Fox. Go ahead,
All right.
Jason.
Turin Horse says, Russian game company financials. You don't believe that shit. Even so, if Skyforge profit goes up 50%, that's just 50% more of almost nothing, because that game is nearly dead. You know, I'm going to just take a quick look here. I agree. It's something we don't really talk about much.
To be fair, we weren't talking about their financials last week. We were talking about concurrent players and player counts. But
wow. They have 184 players right now on Steam, so that's... I didn't know it was going down that badly, but yeah.
So they're up from around like 120.
Zach, finish it off.
Julius Roberts.
Meow. There was no way I was not giving that one to Zach as the last one when I put the show notes together. I was like, yeah I'm going to make Zach meow. Why not? Question of the week last week. Will you be playing Phantasy Star Online 2 on PC next week? Why or why not? And the viewers chimed in. Guestly says, hello, yes, I would like to try Phantasy Star Online 2 and see/feel the game myself. I do not have any Phantasy Star IP background. Well, I have seen one season of the anime, but that's all. I will try it out if the microstore will show and allow me to download. Guestly is outside the United States and Canada. That's why this comment's coming. So it will. You got to switch to North America, though. Same thing with the Xbox. Sometimes need to do some IT magic to be able to download something that is not shown in my region. I'm from the EU, and sometimes I can't even see games on that store, which are available in the EU. Yeah, you're going to have to switch this one. So go ahead, Jason.
Ninja Panda says, question of the week, I will definitely be playing PSO2 on release. Or actually, he writes it as POS2, which would mean something else entirely. But he means that. He says, I've been waiting since they first announced it 7 or 8 years ago. Even though I know the answer to this, I just hope there are no restrictions and everything goes smoothly. Well, there are restrictions and things have not gone smoothly.
Yeah. I mean, there are restrictions that you can bypass, but the smooth part, not so much. Well, I mean, it's flip a coin, really. You might be Jason, you might be me. Go ahead, Zach.
The house always wins. Says, I've been waiting 8 years for Phantasy Star Online 2 to come to the West, so you bet your butt I'm going to be playing on the 27th. I've played all other iterations, the original on Dreamcast, episodes 1 and 2 on the GameCube, and even the redheaded stepchild of the series, Phantasy Star Universe, Ethan Weber equals gross. It's pretty much destiny that I'll be playing this game, and I, for one, can't wait to whale the shit out of it.
Love it. Love it. Sylvex Dragon Skim. Yes, wings are cool indeed, but they ask way too much money for cosmetics. I definitely need Lost Ark soon. Otherwise, it'll get too old like PS2. So
Nobody wants Lost Ark. That game sucks. Everybody hates it.
There's a guy right there that very much, he's right below me here. That very much
I got my over
that.
$100 ready for that top founders pack. They just got to release it. That's all they got to do.
Go ahead, Jason.
TCal $23.99 said we'll definitely be playing on PC. Don't have a console, so that pretty much explains that. Bonus interest to it due to it being a controller supporting game. If you remember my comment from a few weeks ago, controller support is huge for me.
Yep, you will be fine there. And probably one of the smarter comments, at least from today's experience for me. Go ahead, Zach, finish it off.
Marco Z says PSO2 Win 10 store and North America only. Yeah, I'll pass.
Lots of hate for the Microsoft Store, and I'm joining in on that hate today.
Yep.
Question of the week this week. Seeing the woes of recent sandbox MMOs, ArcheAge, right? And the shutdown of others in the past, I want to know, what does a sandbox MMO have to do to kind of capture what is at least vocally seems to be a pretty hungry sandbox crowd? So basically I'm asking, how do you do a sandbox MMO right? Because I gotta be honest, every time I see somebody hyped for these things, they don't really pan out. And Zach, I know you love a good sandbox MMORPG.
I could give you a novel on how to do it right, Mike.
So there we go. Let's get your opinions. Put them in the comments below. While you're down there, give us your weekly bombs, dub bomb for something good, A bomb for something bad in the world of gaming or just in life in general. Until next week, Zach, where can everybody find you?
Everyone can follow me on Twitter at Zach Sharps.
Mr. Winter.
On Twitter, Winter and Fumbles, streaming at twitch.tv/Jason Winter.
And going to eat a grumpy dinner. I'm Mike Byrne, a.k.a. Magic Man. You can follow me right there, but follow at MMOBomb as well to get tweets for all the latest articles, giveaways, first look videos, free-to-play casts, and make sure to check out our Twitch stream Monday through Friday at 2 Eastern. Stay safe. See you on the servers.